Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showcasing some cheap O-scale cars for your layout. I couldn't film at the usual workbench today because I'm completely disassembling and cleaning a locomotive, and I didn't want to screw anything up, so I had to move over here. Which longtime viewers, really longtime viewers, might remember this as the first sort of workbench slash filming table that I had. So I've returned here to talk about some O-scale cars. I've managed to find quite a few second-hand O-scale vehicles that tend to loosely fit the definition of O-scale itself. Some of them are a little too big, some of them are a little too small, and some of them happen to be just about the right scale. But even so, they all have one thing in common: I found them for cheap. So today I'll be taking a quick look at a few of the places you can find these, a few of the manufacturers, and what they tend to cost. Here's 3 vehicles from 3 similar manufacturers. This is from Road Signature, this is from Road Champ, and this is from MotorMax. All 3 of these cars scale well to O-scale and look really good as well. They don't have an absurd amount of detail, but they, across the board, look good. These were all found in the same place for $5 a piece. These tend to show up at model train shows, train club sales, and sometimes you'll find one in an antique store or antique mall. These 3 were found at a train club sale. I'd say $5 a piece isn't too bad for these. Especially if you aren't to get a whole bunch of them at once, that's certainly an acceptable amount. And they do look really nice on a layout as well. In terms of pros and cons between them, there really isn't much. In terms of features and levels of detail, they're all very similar, but they're all pretty good. So remember that Road Signature, Road Champ, and MotorMax are acceptable manufacturers for your O-scale cars. Here's the cars next to a locomotive for scale. Here's a vehicle from another manufacturer that stands out from the rest. It looks similar on the outside, but take a look around, there's more detail, and you can lift up the hood and take a look at some of the other details that they put in this, such as a fully detailed engine, which is just about as good as you're going to get for a model this size. This is by Ertl, which are known for their farm equipment models and toys, but they've made some nice cars too, and this Impala is a great example. I believe this is the only Ertl car that I have, but I'll be sure to look out for more because this is just excellent. I believe I found this for $5 as well. I might have even found it along with the previous 3 cars that I've looked at, I'm not quite sure. But I would pay even up to $10 for this model because it's very nice looking and it's very well detailed, and it's from a well-known and trusted manufacturer. So Ertl is definitely a manufacturer you should look out for finding some decent O-scale cars. Another manufacturer that I found makes some O-scale vehicles is Corgi. They make all manner of vehicles. I believe they also make British vehicles because I do believe they're a British manufacturer. But here's an American vehicle that they've made. This is a Dodge Monaco. Of course, this is the Bluesmobile from the Blues Brothers. So when I saw it, I had to have it because I absolutely love that movie, and my layout takes place in Chicago, so no reason to pass it up. I forget how much this was, but it must have been a little more pricey than the other models, somewhere around $10, $15, because it's a licensed piece, and it's made by Corgi, which is a pretty quality manufacturer of this sort of thing. And, well, yeah, it's a nice vehicle. It looks good on the layout. It looks like what it's meant to represent. And if you come across a Corgi model for cheap, definitely pick it up because usually they're a little more pricey. Now, the cars that I just looked at were all meant for collectors to put on shelves and put on train layouts. But there's another source of model cars that is a little more readily available and tends to be a bit cheaper. And that would be Pullback Toys. Here's a Welly GTO. And from what I've seen, Welly does die-cast vehicles, and they do them pretty well. I found this for $3 at a antique mall, and well, I'd say this is definitely worth $3. The detail isn't stellar, and I don't know exactly when this was made, but it's a little older than some of the other models I've looked at. But it is an excellent little model, and I'd say if you can find Welly models for cheap, pick one up. They might vary in size a little more than other manufacturers in terms of being close to scale, but from what I've seen, their stuff seems pretty close to scale. So, definitely look out for Welly. Now, for a while, my biggest source of cars for my layouts has been KinSmart, and they make pullback toy cars that you can get pretty much anywhere. I've seen them at drugstores like a Walgreens or CVS. I've seen them at grocery stores. I've seen them at like tacky sort of tourist trap places. They're on those little racks, and they have shelves of sort of the same model of car or similar, a few different models of cars painted up in different colors. And every year or every few years they change out the models that they make. So you can go back every couple of years and pick out different models. Here's one that I got probably around 5 or 6 years ago. It's a Camaro. It's a police car version. I got a couple of these, and it's very nice looking, and it's certainly close enough on its own to be passable as O-scale. I'll put it next to a car that is most definitely O-scale, the Crown Vic, and yeah, it's significantly bigger. I'll put it next to a car with a similar outline. See, they're the same length, but the Camaro is quite a bit taller than the Impala here. So it's clear that this is a slightly scaled up version. I think this is getting a little closer to 1/36. Actually says on the bottom what the scale of these are. It's 1/37. So yeah, significantly bigger than O scale, but it still looks good. And if you have these sort of spaced apart from your more scale cars, it looks fine. It's passable. It'll work. No one's gonna notice. And if it bugs you specifically, there's ways to get around it, and it does slightly bug me, so I gotta position them on the layout in such a way where I won't notice that these are a little bigger than scale. But the fact that they're a little bigger than scale is completely outweighed by the fact that they're ubiquitous. You can find them all over the place. They make a decent variety of vehicles, and they're pretty inexpensive. Over the past few years, they've regularly been anywhere from $5 to $7. And that's just about what they're worth. I think that's about as good as you're going to get in terms of a modern new vehicle like this. You can do really good with these. Now, up until this point, a lot of the vehicles that I've shown have been, well, certainly classic cars, most of which are from the 40s to the 60s, which makes sense because, well, manufacturers are going to make what a lot of people want, and what a lot of people want for putting on the train layouts and for collecting are cars from that era, because a lot of folks are older and more nostalgic for that. And plus, they just look really good. But don't fret if you like modern cars, because the pullbacks kind of have you covered there. Here's a couple of modern pullback vehicles that you can get that are relatively close to O-scale. This Porsche is it's a little bigger than true O-scale. I'll put it next to the Crown Vic. Yeah, it's quite a bit larger, but if you put it sort of on its own, it'll look okay. It's a very nice looking model. Again, found for a similar price range as what I was talking about before with the pullback cars. But you can find stuff like this. You can find stuff like this. A very modern car. A F-150. This is actually really close to O-scale. If I get the Crown Vic in here for reference. And that's why I picked it out, because it's extremely close to O-scale. And this is, of course, the super modern version. That's the electric version of the pickup truck. And, well, I guess that goes to show that you can find extra modern vehicles, and you can find yourself some good old classics in O-scale. So overall, there's actually quite a few options in O-scale for vehicles you can put around your layout. From really any era you choose, this is just a showcase of some of the vehicles I've collected. You could probably find vehicles from your own specific niche of era and type of vehicle that you like. But overall, you can find yourself some fairly nice models that don't necessarily come in a fancy box brand new. So thanks for watching, and I hope this video helped if you're trying to look for O-scale vehicles. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.